Sleep paralysis, the twilight between worlds. Have you ever awakened in the dead of night, fully conscious yet utterly immobile? Your lungs desperate for deeper breath, your limbs refusing every command to move, as if invisible chains bind you to your bed? And then, the presence, that inexplicable sensation that something or someone is there, watching, waiting in the shadows of your room. What if I told you that this phenomenon, known as sleep paralysis, has been documented across every civilization in human history? From the old hag of Newfoundland who sits upon sleeping victims' chests, to Japan's kaneshiburi, or bound in metal, to the Middle Eastern jathum that crushes dreamers beneath its weight, these are not simply cultural folktales. They are windows into a universal human experience that science has only begun to understand. But here's what might surprise you even more. Sleep paralysis isn't just a modern neurological curiosity. It's woven into the very fabric of human spirituality. Ancient Egyptians documented it in medical papyri dating back to 1550 BCE. Medieval monks believed these episodes were divine tests of faith. Indigenous shamans across continents intentionally induce these states as portals to spiritual realms. What is it about this particular state of consciousness that transcends time, geography, and culture? Why do people separated by oceans and millennia report nearly identical experiences? And why do the scientific and spiritual explanations for sleep paralysis seem to exist in parallel universes, never quite reconciling? The scientific community offers a clinical explanation. Sleep paralysis occurs when your mind awakens while your body remains in REM sleep atonia, the natural paralysis that prevents you from physically acting out your dreams. But this explanation feels hollow when confronted with the vivid, shared narratives of those who experience it. When millions across history report the same shadowy figures, the same pressure on their chests, the same feeling of imminent danger, can we dismiss this as mere coincidence? Consider this. The average human will spend approximately 6 years of their life dreaming. During this time, our consciousness navigates a realm where physics bends and reality distorts. Sleep paralysis exists precisely at the threshold between these worlds, a liminal space where dream logic bleeds into waking reality. What if these episodes aren't glitches in our neural wiring, but glimpses into aspects of existence our waking minds aren't equipped to process? What if the universality of sleep paralysis points to something profound about consciousness itself, something that bridges cultural divides and speaks to an experience fundamental to human existence? In the next few minutes, I'll take you through ancient texts, modern research, and cross-cultural accounts that paint a picture of sleep paralysis far more complex than you've been led to believe. We'll explore why some cultures view it not as a disorder, but as a gift, a momentary thinning of the veil between worlds. And perhaps most importantly, we'll examine why understanding sleep paralysis might be crucial to understanding consciousness itself. Throughout human history, sleep paralysis has worn many masks and carried many names. The 1781 painting, The Nightmare by Henry Fuseli, depicts exactly what millions experience during episodes: a demonic figure perched upon the chest of a helpless sleeper. This isn't artistic license. It's a remarkably accurate portrayal of a neurological event that affects approximately 8% of the general population regularly and up to 40% of people at least once in their lifetime. But let's delve deeper than statistics. Sleep paralysis exists at a fascinating crossroads between neuroscience and cultural interpretation. Neurologically speaking, it occurs when aspects of REM sleep intrude into wakefulness. During REM, your brain paralyzes your body, a safety mechanism preventing you from acting out your dreams. In sleep paralysis, your consciousness awakens while this paralysis persists, often accompanied by hallucinations, as your dreaming brain continues projecting imagery onto your now conscious perception. Here's what makes sleep paralysis truly extraordinary. These hallucinations follow consistent patterns across cultures and throughout history. The three most common types: incubus, pressure on the chest; intruder, sensed presence; and vestibular motor, out-of-body sensations, appear in medical and folklore accounts dating back thousands of years. Pause for a moment. If you're finding this exploration into the mysterious realm of sleep paralysis intriguing, take a second to hit the subscribe button and like this video. This helps more people discover this content, and there's much more to come on the hidden dimensions of human consciousness. What science cannot easily explain is the remarkable consistency of these experiences. Why do people from rural Brazil to urban Japan report the same shadowy figures watching from corners? The same old woman sitting on their chest? The same sensations of being dragged from their beds? Some researchers propose these similarities stem from universal features of human brain architecture, that when the brain encounters certain unusual states, it creates predictable hallucinations. Others suggest these experiences tap into collective unconscious patterns, archetypes embedded in human psychology that transcend cultural boundaries. But there's another dimension often overlooked: the spiritual technologies developed around sleep paralysis. In some traditional societies, particularly among shamanic practitioners, sleep paralysis isn't feared, it's cultivated. Tibetan dream yoga practitioners deliberately induce states resembling sleep paralysis as gateways to lucid dreaming and spiritual insight. Among certain indigenous Amazonian groups, the experience is understood as an initiation, evidence that one has the potential for spiritual authority. The universality of these experiences raises profound questions about consciousness itself. If all humans, regardless of culture or era, experience the same specific hallucinations during sleep paralysis, what does this tell us about the nature of perception? What is the relationship between brain states and what we call reality? Let's examine some lesser-known facts about sleep paralysis that challenge conventional understanding. Electromagnetic sensitivity. Recent studies have detected correlations between geomagnetic activity and sleep paralysis events. Periods of higher geomagnetic disturbance correlate with increased reporting of sleep paralysis episodes in sensitive individuals. This has led some researchers to hypothesize that the electromagnetic properties of certain locations might influence the frequency of episodes. A possible scientific explanation for haunted locations. Historical sleep patterns. Before artificial lighting, humans typically slept in a biphasic pattern with a period of wakefulness in the middle of the night. Historical documents suggest sleep paralysis was often experienced during this midnight waking period, leading some researchers to believe our modern consolidated sleep pattern may contribute to the pathological nature of modern sleep paralysis experiences. Therapeutic applications. While often frightening, some researchers are exploring sleep paralysis as a potential therapeutic tool. The state shares neurological similarities with meditation and can provide access to deep subconscious material. Some pioneering therapists are developing protocols to help individuals transform frightening episodes into controlled exploratory experiences. If you're still with me and finding value in these insights, now would be a perfect time to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. This supports the channel and ensures you won't miss future deep dives into the mysteries of human consciousness. What's particularly fascinating is how different cultures have developed methods to cope with or utilize sleep paralysis. In Newfoundland tradition, placing a Bible under the pillow prevents visits from the old hag. In Japanese folklore, calling your name aloud breaks the kanashibari binding. These techniques often contain psychological wisdom. Focusing attention on physical sensations can help terminate episodes regardless of one's spiritual beliefs. But perhaps most intriguing are cultures that deliberately cultivate sleep paralysis-like states. Among certain Hmong spiritual practitioners, controlled experiences of what Westerners would call sleep paralysis are considered evidence of shamanic ability. The practitioner learns to navigate the terrifying initial stages and eventually gains control over the experience, transforming it from nightmare to spiritual technology. Sleep paralysis also offers unique insights into the nature of fear itself. The extreme terror commonly reported seems disconnected from actual physical threat, After all, the experience itself is harmless. Neuroscientists suggest this fear stems from amygdala activation combined with a profound sense of helplessness. Understanding this mechanism might have broader implications for treating anxiety disorders and phobias. There's emerging evidence that sleep paralysis may be connected to creative insight as well. Historical figures from Mary Shelley, whose nightmare inspired Frankenstein, to Salvador Dali reportedly drew creative inspiration from sleep paralysis episodes. The hypnagogic imagery, vivid hallucinations occurring at the edge of sleep, shares qualities with the associative thinking valued in creative problem solving. Modern sleep researchers have developed techniques that can help manage distressing episodes. These include 1. Focusing on controlling small movements, often a finger or toe, to break the paralysis. 2. Practicing reality testing during waking hours to recognize sleep paralysis when it occurs. 3. Using deliberate breathing patterns to reduce fear response. 4. Converting the experience into a launching pad for lucid dreaming. What's most remarkable about these techniques is how closely they mirror traditional practices found in cultures worldwide, suggesting our ancestors developed sophisticated psychological tools without the benefit of modern neuroscience. As we conclude this exploration of sleep paralysis, we're left with more questions than answers, as is often the case when we probe the boundaries of consciousness. If sleep paralysis represents a hybrid state between waking and dreaming, what other threshold states might exist? What other aspects of consciousness remain unexplored because they don't fit neatly into our categorical understanding of reality? Is it possible that the consistency of sleep paralysis experiences across cultures points to dimensions of human experience that transcend individual psychology? Could the shared imagery of these episodes, the shadows, the pressure, the presence, reflect aspects of consciousness that exist outside our conventional understanding of mind? And perhaps most provocatively, what if sleep paralysis isn't a disorder at all, but an evolutionary adaptation, a vestigial capacity for heightened awareness during vulnerable moments of sleep that once protected our ancestors from nocturnal predators, or a mechanism for accessing altered states of consciousness that served important social and spiritual functions in pre-modern societies? The next time you find yourself frozen between worlds in the dead of night, remember this: you're experiencing something humans have encountered for millennia, something that has shaped art, spirituality, and our very understanding of consciousness. That shadowy realm between sleeping and waking isn't just a neurological curiosity. It's a window into the mystery of what it means to be human, to perceive, to exist in the borderlands between different states of awareness. What other thresholds of consciousness await our exploration? And what ancient wisdom about these states might we have forgotten in our rush to classify and pathologize experiences outside the norm? The answers, like sleep paralysis itself, exist in that liminal space between known and unknown, waiting for us to find them.